Fear. This word sounds like it carries bad vibrations with scary results and a little terror mixed in. The dictionary describes fear with terms like frightening, dread, alarm, horror, panic. With such a frightful description, how can we discuss this word without thinking the worst? Well, we are going to discuss the less frightening kind of fear and its effects on our everyday lives. We are going to leave the kind of fear with fright and horror to the movie makers who make those kinds of movies and to the writers who write those kinds of books. Fear is one of those emotions, thoughts, or feelings. Although it sounds frightful, fear can be overcome and conquered. We are going to discuss fear in its generic form, the kind of fear which brings about unnecessary worry, anxiety, and torment. Here are some examples. Fear you will not have enough money to cover your expenses. You fear your children will grow up in a world with many more problems than the one you grew up in. You fear your boss. You fear your marriage or your relationship may come apart. You fear you may be laid off or fired from your job. There are many different reasons for the kind of fear we are discussing. We may have fear about the way we are living our lives. Fear we are not setting a good example for our children. Fear of the decisions we have to make, and fear of making the wrong decision. Fear of the unknown. Fear is involved in many parts of your life today. These are the questions I want you to answer. What are your fears, and how do they affect your life? Is fear your constant companion, or is it something which comes and goes? Does it depend upon the situation or crisis you are facing? Some of us have fears which may pass quickly, and others which may linger. Then some of us have fears which never seem to go away. Whether these fears are short-term or long-term, they can have a negative effect upon our lives and the lives of our families. There are many of you out there who are fearful of what's happening today and what might happen tomorrow. Some of us live our lives on a roller coaster of fear. I can understand having a certain amount of fear and apprehension about all the uncertainty we face in our lives today and the many changes happening in the world we live in today. One of the greatest lines of the 20th century was spoken by one of our greatest presidents at a time when our country suffered its greatest economic danger. That president was Franklin D. Roosevelt, and that line was, "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself." That line was perfect for its time, given the condition this country was in. I want you to take some time and think about your own fears. I would ask you to make a list of your fears. For some of you, it will take a few lines. For others, it may take several lines. For some of you who are overly fearful, it could take a whole page. My question to you is, how many of these fears are really necessary? I will answer that for you. The answer is almost none. Let me repeat that. Practically none. If you take the time to really think about it, I think you will agree. Life is going to go on just as it has for thousands of years. The sun will continue to rise and set just as it has for millions of years. Your life will go on as it always has. I'm not saying you will not have fears. I want you to know you can deal with your fears. You have heard me repeat this line many times in these Reflections of Life series. That line is, you must become emotionally, mentally, and psychologically strong to overcome your fears. Just like the line that was uttered by our president during some of the darkest days in this country's history. The only thing you really have to fear is fear itself.